The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John.
Glory to the Lord.
Jesus said to the crowds, "Everything that the Father gives me will come to me, and I will not reject anyone who comes to me. Because I came down from heaven not to do my own will, but the will of the one who sent me. And this is the will of the one who sent me, that I should not lose anything of what he gave me, but that I should raise it up on the last day. For this is the will of my Father, that everyone who sees the Son and believes in him may have eternal life, and I shall raise him up on the last day." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
About a dozen years ago, on this day, my life, I think, was changed forever on the Day of the Dead. I was studying Spanish in Mexico, the city of Puebla. And as this day drew near, which is a huge celebration in Mexico, altars were prepared in every place. There was, even in our language school, we were putting together an altar with pictures, with fruit, with those distinctive-looking marigolds that have orange and purple that they use in Mexico. Even though I'd never had any experience, here I was putting together an altar in a language school. And everywhere you went, leading up to this day, they had identified the day when for stillborn or babies that die in infancy, or the day when people die by accident, etc. And it was different days. But on this day, the whole city stopped. And so I decided that I would go to the cemetery. And there was a municipal cemetery that was about 10 acres, gigantic, filled with graves. But as I approached, all the traffic was stopped, and people were flowing by the thousands in and out of the cemetery. And as you entered through a gate into the cemetery, there were thousands of people gathering around all of the graves. And virtually every grave, I got there about 1 o'clock, in the afternoon, and virtually every grave was decorated, and there were people gathered. Some were singing, some were praying, some were eating a meal, some were decorating, some were in silence. But it was one of the most powerful experiences of solidarity that I've had in my life. The whole city stopped to honor those who had died. But we did it, they did it, we did it, I did it with them together. And it was filled with hope, filled with the knowledge that the resurrection is real, filled with the idea that the bond, the connection is not broken between those who have died and those who are still living. There was, as I left the cemetery after walking through the whole, seeing all the different people, I was moved deeply. Thinking of the contrast between that and when I take a wreath to my parents' grave and my brother's grave, etc., and where they're buried in Charlottesville. A lonely thing, maybe 2 or 3 people. I was thinking, that's the truth. It is the truth that the bond is not broken. That's what we celebrate today. That we are one in a communion of saints with all our brothers and sisters here, and one in bond with those who've gone before us. So when Jesus says, "Everything comes to me and I'll reject nothing," when I was in that cemetery, you could believe that no one was rejected. Why? Because it's the mercy of God that we depend on. From that Romans reading, hope does not disappoint. Why? Because God died for us while we were still sinners. So we're reconciled. How much more, since we're now justified by His blood, by His death, and that we're saved through Him. And if while we were enemies, we were reconciled by the death of His Son, how much more, one reconciled, will we be saved by His life? This is a day of, as the first reading says, of hope. On this mountain, the Lord will provide for His peoples. But you take not just a memory, I think, on this day of those who died, but I think on this day, we also have to remember those who live. If the bond is with those who went before us, the bond is also unbroken by God's will with our brothers and sisters in this world. And not just our blood brothers and sisters, but all. I had no relative in that cemetery. And yet I felt like I was one with all. That, my brothers and sisters, is the truth. Is the truth. So let us remember those who've gone before, and let us be inspired to live as if we reverence that memory by the way we love one another. Let us stand now to offer our petitions.
I am in charge of direct service or social service here at St. Charles, and it's really an honor to work in a parish where they would employ 2 people to do social justice and social service work. We have quite a few programs, and rather than go through all of them, I would tell you that we have financial assistance, we have a wonderful food pantry, but I would also say that it is a community effort from our pastor to our priest to our office staff. Everyone is a welcoming light in the community. We make St. Charles an open parish, so much so that I would tell you a story. We have had a couple who have been homeless for the past 3 years, sort of hanging out with us in our vestibule, and really no one has ever chased them or told them they had to leave, and so they've become sort of our buddies and pals. And thanks to one of our parishioners, Grace, who happens to be with us, she was very persistent in trying to find them housing. And I would like to tell you that today, just today, Andy and Salud, and I have Andy, Salud was a little shy, she left, but just today they will get an apartment in transition. Which is a part of the Arlington Alexandria Coalition for the Homeless, working with us and working with the county. It just is a wonderful story, and we're just very happy for them. And you can't imagine being on the streets for 3 years, and then today is the day, the beginning of a new life for them. So we're just thrilled. We're just happy.
Thank you so much for praying for us. God bless you all.
We also have a wonderful collaboration with Marymount University, their School of Health Professions, and their dean, Dr. Tess Capello, who's not here with us, had a vision about 5 years ago of starting sort of a health clinic, some education programs, and we have 2 of the professors from Marymount here with us.
So we're very happy with our affiliation with St. Charles, and I think we offer a lot to an underserved community, and we hope to do more. We really focus, as far as our nurse-managed health clinic, we focus on education and preventative programs. This Sunday we're doing a program on stroke prevention in English and Spanish, so you're all welcome to come. And then tomorrow, Cindy will talk about her students that are here on Tuesdays, working with a lot of clients here. we're putting on a health fair for everyone. So there's lots of different things going on, and we're just really, really happy to be involved with the church.
Wonderful program that we have at St. Charles, thanks to our parishioners who are immigration attorneys, as well as other interested parties on our committee. We have the Borromeo Legal Project, and with that program, we have been able to help people become citizens. The attorneys do the work pro bono, and I'd like to introduce one of our attorneys, Mark Monaco. He can tell you just a little bit about our program.
Thank you. In 2008, our former pastor, Father Jerry Creedon, was looking for a way to help the immigrants in St. Charles Borromeo Parish, and the answer he came up with was to start the Borromeo Legal Project. Today, the Borromeo Legal Project has 3 signature programs. First, we provide, we have 10 volunteer teachers providing weekly English language classes to some 47 students. We also have volunteer tutors who work with students to help them acquire the English language skills that they will need to eventually qualify for American citizenship. Second, the Borromeo Legal Project sponsors seminars, or charlas, where we answer such basic questions as, how do I use a bank? How do I apply for a tax ID number? How do I file a tax return? And what are my basic rights when dealing with the police? Our third project is that we administer the Philip Keating Memorial Scholarship, which provides both free legal and financial assistance to needy candidates who are applying for American citizenship. We have 2 volunteer attorneys who help our candidates fill out their citizenship applications and who accompany them to their final interviews. We have parish volunteers who work with our candidates and help them study for the civics and American history examination. And finally, donations from our generous parishioners and our parish tithing project pay half of each citizenship candidate's $680 filing fee. To date, 10 successful candidates have received their American citizenship with the help of the Borromeo Legal Project. And we have 5 candidates who are currently processing their applications. I see one of our candidates is sitting right here, Leila Delgado. She's our hardest working candidate, so I'm sure all your prayers will be with her when it comes time for her to take an interview. And now I'd like to introduce Ms. Huang Ma, our most recent successful citizenship candidate, who will tell you how the Borromeo Legal Project helped her on her journey to American citizenship.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk with you today. My name is Huang Ma. I came to America 8 years ago with my 20-month-old daughter. When I came to America, I did not speak English and was very worried about how I could make a home in the United States. In 2007, when I was divorced, I knew I had to make a better life for my daughter and myself. I had much help from St. Charles. I found a job working in the preschool at St. Charles School, the little children help me learn English. On Sundays, I would take ELL classes at the church. While I was taking the ELL class, my teacher told me about Borromeo legal projects. I went to Miss Joanne. She helped me fill out the application I applied this year. Miss Rachel was the immigration lawyer who volunteered to help me with the process. They gave me help to study for the citizenship test and helped me practice history, writing, and reading. I took my citizenship test last month, and I'm happy to stand before you knowing I passed the test. Thank you very much. I am waiting to hear when I will be sworn in as a U.S. citizen. I do not know how I can even thank St. Charles and the Borromeo Legal Project, especially Miss Joanne Dagan and Miss Rachel for making my dream come true. And I would like to thank you, Sister B, and thank you, Miss Laka, and thank you, Miss Chavan, and teaching my daughter, Christina. She's teaching 4th grade. And I would like to thank you to all the teachers at St. Charles School. And thank you very much.